Faceless is a great album. It is the first Godsmack record to feature Shannon Larkin behind the kit, and I would honestly say it's Godsmack's most definitive record up to this point. I would honestly say this is the album where Godsmack truly discovered who they are. And while it doesn't reinvent the wheel by any means, it does succeed at what it intends to do, and that's to be a very good alternative metal record. I Stand Alone was a big hit from this album, and it's not hard to see why. I think this is one of the better songs Godsmack has made. Even if it is a very catchy and radio-friendly song, I do think this is an example of them pushing themselves, at least in terms of songwriting. I will admit some of the issues that plague Self-Titled and Awake still remain here, but at no point do those issues drag the album down. I'd say the only real big issue is a lot of these songs tend to sound very homogenous, but even so, there's really no low point on Faceless. I would say I enjoyed myself the most listening to this album. It's not really peaks and valleys, but more so just a plateau. And at this point, that's something to really celebrate from Godsmack, because it hasn't been very glamorous so far. This is also the first album by Godsmack where Sully Erna takes primary creative control. Being that Awake and Self-Titled were pretty split between Sully and the other instrumental members as far as songwriting, Sully writes almost every song on this album except for 2. And honestly, it's not hard to see why he took so much creative control here, because he really did deliver. And it worked with the band as well. Even if they didn't contribute creatively to a lot of these songs, they do find chemistry with what he's presenting to them, and they play these songs like it's the best thing they've ever done in their career. And it really is the best thing they've ever done in their career at this point. I think this is the first Godsmack record I loved from beginning to end. I enjoyed this album so much that I'm actually going to buy it and add it to my collection. I Stand Alone, Straight Out of Line, Realign, Changes, and Make Me Believe are very good alternative metal songs. All of those songs play to Godsmack's sound very well. They're a very standard trademark sound, but they do so in a way that helps grow it. It doesn't feel like the issues I had with Awake, where those songs aren't just making that extra leap forward. They're just standard paint by numbers rock songs. Even if these songs aren't really that unique, I do think they're very good, and they deserve recognition for actually capturing my attention and being more notable and noteworthy. The best song on the album is still Serenity. I mean, I loved that song as a child, and I still love it now as an adult. Serenity, as well as its intro Awakening, show how Godsmack's acoustic sound is distinct from Alice in Chains. I know a lot of people complain that Godsmack was basically ripping off Alice in Chains with their transition into more softer, gentler acoustic tracks, but really they don't sound that much alike. And even so, the Eastern elements to this song and most of Godsmack's acoustics give it a very distinct separation from anything Alice in Chains has ever done before. The Wiccan themes really seep into Sully Erna's work, and I would say it enhances it and makes it stronger and more interesting than it would be if it was just a standard acoustic song. Even if this album was primarily written by Sully Erna, all 4 members really shine on this record. Robbie Merrill's bass lines are more distinct, particularly on the song Dead and Broken and I Am. I remember actually making mental notes of his bass playing on those tracks. Tony Rombola really balances lead guitar with Sully Erna's rhythm, and it just goes to show why these guys are so good at playing together, because they're just virtuosos at their respective instruments. And lastly, it cannot be understated how important Shannon Larkin is to Godsmack. Shannon Larkin is the long missing piece in Godsmack, and while I do prefer his drumming in Another Animal, I can't help but recognize his universal talent and how good he is on every song on this record. He is my favorite member of Godsmack, and I would still say he is my favorite aspect of Godsmack's sound. Faceless basically eliminates all the problems I had on Self-Titled and Awake. As I've stated before, it's not the most unique album in the world, it's not even the most original, but it's very good at what it intends to do. And it's definitely the only Godsmack album at this point that I've enjoyed from beginning to end. There's not even a song I strongly dislike on this album, or a song that I find particularly frustrating. It's just very cohesive and it flows seamlessly. For the first time while we've been making this review, I'm actually excited to see what comes next. Faceless is a great album, and it has me optimistic that Godsmack's sound is actually just going to get better with each subsequent album. If you like alternative metal or hard rock in any way, shape, or form, I really think you should check this out. You'll get a lot out of it.